On this week's episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure,
we go to the dark side.
welcome to episode 8 of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. I'm Ed Dollister.
And I'm Mitch Halleck.
And today we are going to be talking about the iconic, the amazing, the 40th anniversary celebrating The Empire Strikes Back. How are you, Mitch?
I'm fine and dandy, Ed, and all full of the force. Oh, actually, I'm supporting my Billy D. Williams Lando mustache.
Hello.
Hello, Ed. Hello, what do we have here?
Well,
I think I'll do the whole show like that, Ed. I'm going to talk like Lando. I'm going to be so smooth.
It's only going to be a 5-minute show today, so that's all right. So now, of course, you had the pleasure of having Billy D as one of your guests at Terrificon.
I did. I just realized that was another object I can get. Billy D, Mr. Billy D. Williams, was at Terrificon 2019, and a fantastic guy, great actor, full of stories. Everybody loved him, and he was there talking about his return as Lando Calrissian in the Rise of Skywalker, which just came out. So
absolutely, and I've got my fantastic autograph of him up on the wall there.
Yes, that's right.
Which is amazing. Can you believe it? 40 years ago, Empire Strikes Back premiered in American cinemas. It premiered in Australia in August, so we had to wait.
I was going to say, don't tell me you got it a year before us, because I'll come down there. Don't come down. My glasses.
Is that everything all right? That's not.
Now.
It's not Owen's college fund or anything like that. That's
no. That was my Lando.
Oh,
and when I say works every time.
If you know what I mean. So.
Well, we're jumping ahead of ourselves.
We are.
May 21st, a day that will live in infamy. That I took the day off from school. I was 13. My grandmother took me to the cinema, and I got in line. Well, it was sold out. Yeah, it was sold out. I'm trying to remember if it was. And what happened is we sat off to the side. And back then, the screens were gigantic. I mean, it was like a 1,000-seat theater. So if you sat off to the side, when the crawl came up, it was on an angle. You know what I mean? It's like the theater was curved a bit.
Yes.
And all I remember when it opened, the most jarring thing that I recall was the Hoth battle in the snow, because it was in Dolby stereo. And what would happen is when the guys were fighting, and you'd hear the snow speeders coming across the screen and go off to and particularly when they couldn't find Han and Luke, when he's out in the snow trying to find him on Hoth. And you heard the sound coming behind you, and I saw everyone's head turn around and look behind us as if it was coming into the theater. But that was just something else, though. But it was great. I was going to say, so good, I sat through it twice.
Yeah,
I begged my grandmother. Once it was over, it was like 3 o'clock, and my mom was going to pick us up, so she went and called. She goes, he wants to see it again. So we snuck back in, and I watched it twice in that one day. But that was it. So what was your first experience?
I remember, obviously, being a huge Star Wars fan. I was super excited for it. I got my Boba Fett action figure from 1979. Which was a preview, I suppose, of the figure. I had no idea who he was or what he was or anything like that.
Well, did they get the holiday special down there? Did you ever get to see that before?
To be honest, I don't remember it being on, unless my years of therapy have, been successful.
I'm just wondering, because it never aired here again in the States, and I was just thinking of that.
I honestly don't think we saw it in Australia. I look, if one of our wonderful listeners, viewers could let us know if that's the case in Australia, but I don't remember. I've seen it since, obviously, but not.
But that's an interesting question. I don't think it did.
Because that was really the debut of Boba Fett, where we saw him in that wonderful probably the best thing about the Star Wars Holiday Special. That
Nelvana animation cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. So, I was very excited. I was collecting Star Wars stuff. I almost knocked over my Tauntaun then. And then we went to, my mum took me to see it at the Cryo Cinema. And she watched it with me, and I was gobsmacked. And I remember that scene. I mean, there were so many amazing scenes, but that land speeder scene when Zev is looking for... Yeah, what did I say? Land speeder.
Land speeder. Sorry. Wrong movie. Wrong movie.
Oh no! Where the snow speeder, when Zev is looking for Luke and Han, and they're going over and it's sort of like the cockpit view. And I remember you could just hear everyone going, ooh, because it felt like a roller coaster. Yeah. And
people were moving with the screen.
Yes.
It was like they were in the cockpit. You'd see them, like the guy would bank and he would take the turn. You see everyone's head go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had very fond memories of going to see that film many times at the cinema. It was in those days that there wasn't really any internet, so only we heard stuff on
Starlog magazine. That's all we had.
Oh, again, isn't it funny? We were just saying this off air.
It's right over here.
You remember going all this stuff and going, oh, I could have shown this and this and this, which I've got somewhere in storage.
This was it. Starlog magazine, and it had a special feature about The Empire Strikes Back, and there's Harrison Ford right there.
Yep.
This was it. This was our internet, buddy. This is how we knew what was going to happen in the outside world right there.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember TV Week, which I think I showed you last time,
TV Guide,
of the $6 Million Man. They had coverage on TV Week, and they had a competition where you could enter in and win a stack of toys.
Oh yeah.
Yep. They were.
I assume Empire Strikes Back toys or just random.
They were the 12-inch figures, so you could win. There was Boba Fett you could win, and a few things like that. There was also coverage in Women's Weekly magazine, which I remember my mum used to get, and I used to, I cut that out and had that on the wall, which was amazing. So we didn't really get any spoilers or anything like that. It's not like today with the internet.
Speaking of spoilers, I'll tell you, there was one thing I remember seeing the trailer. Did you see the trailer? I saw it with Rocky 2.
Yeah.
In 1970, Rocky 2 came out in 78, maybe 79, maybe it was at a second run theater. And what happened is they showed the trailer, and this I found out years later. Harrison Ford apparently is the narrator.
A big, new, sprawling space adventure in the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back. Coming to your galaxy next summer.
Of the trailer. I don't know why, but if you go back and find it on YouTube, Harrison Ford does the voiceover. I don't know why.
If I can find it, I'm going to put it in right now.
Yeah, and there you go. But I remember they said, follow the adventures of Han, Luke, Leia, Lando Calrissian, and they showed it. And what would happen is they'd have a still photo come up, and then they would use like a divider.
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for when you edit something?
A cut?
A cut, yeah. And we were like, who's that? And then they showed Luke going down the chute at Bespin and in Cloud City and then falling through. And then you saw a bunch of this quick cuts of everything. And the asteroid field scene, it was just unbelievable. And I don't think there was any glimpses of Yoda at all. There was no mention of Yoda. And that was the big mystery. That was the big mystery. And you know what, though? So you didn't know anything about it before the movie?
No, I did have, I remember getting a copy of, I think it's Fantastic Films magazine.
Yeah, that was a magazine. I have that here, yeah.
And they had a photo of Boba Fett on the cover. I mean, I was only, 10. Oh, actually, I would have been 9 when it came out because it came out in August. So
yeah, I was 13. So
I was reading, but I wasn't able to get access to everything. But I remember getting that Fantastic Films magazine, and it was speculating who. I remember that I'm pretty sure they were saying, Boba Fett, could it be Luke's? Could that actually be
Luke's father.
Yeah, Luke's father. And there was all this speculation going on. But, I mean, we all know the spoiler 40 years later. It's amazing how they kept that a secret about, Darth being Luke's father.
Here's the creepy thing. This is the Marvel Comics movie adaptation. These were supersized specials, they would call them back then. This came out before the movie. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, because now everything's so super secret. They would never have allowed that. But this came out. Maybe they weren't sure it was going to be a success, because we talked before the show started that Charles Lippincott, who was the marketing director at Lucas, just passed away this week. He was also at Terrificon a couple years ago. Great guy. But the thing of it is, his idea for Star Wars was to release the movie novelization, to release the comic book from Marvel before the movie came out. So there would be some buzz on the street. Some people would start talking about it. And that way, when the film finally debuted in May, there was already a little bit of a excitement building.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm wondering if that was the thinking behind this, and that's why it came out before the movie. Because when I saw this, if you can see this, that's what Yoda looked like.
That I do. I remember that.
And I kept thinking, how are they going to do that in a movie screen? Because there's shots of him. He's a little tiny, like not Yoda that we know, but more like a hobbit.
Yep.
Like a dwarf type thing. And I'm like, there's no way this is going to work on a screen,
In fact, he looks a bit like Gollum with a wig, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, look at that.
Yep.
So what's funny is this came out before the movie. And then after the movie, they reissued it as this. And then they went in there and they fixed Yoda. Now he looks more like the Yoda we know. See?
Yep. It's the special. It's a special edition before the special edition.
The special edition. And then not only this, there's the 4 regular size comic books that I have over here too. That one, he looks like this too. So I don't know what, I really should look into the behind the scenes. Maybe J.W. Rinsler, who did all the making of the Empire Strikes Back books and Star Wars. Maybe he knows the real reason why that came out. And did you read this, by the way?
I did. Of course. I've got a different cover than that, or a different color cover.
Really?
Than that one.
Oh, okay. This is by Donald F. Glutt, a comic book writer and actually classmate of George Lucas. I don't know if you knew that. That's how he got the job. He went to USC with George Lucas, as did Charles Lippincott. So actually, Lucas is kind of cool because he takes care of his friends. All the guys he went to school with eventually finds a job with him at Lucasfilm. Howard Kazanjian, who was the producer of Raiders Lost Ark and part of Return of the Jedi, he was a classmate of George Lucas's. The Hayeks, who went on to write The Temple of Doom and
Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and Howard the Duck. They were friends of him. Yeah. But Donald Glutt is famous for making not student films, but fan films. Like, you know how we have YouTube now and people make their own movies about Spider-Man or whatever? He was doing that for years. And he was a huge movie buff. But Lucas gave him the job to adapt the film. And this again came out before the movie. So there's no photos in it. Remember when they would do the novelization?
Yes, you would buy it, insert 18 post, pictures or whatever in there. Yes.
Yeah, even in Star Wars.
Yep.
The Star Wars novelization by Alan Dean Foster, even though it says George Lucas on it, there's photos from the movie in there. There's nothing in this. I remember getting it, and I was so disappointed because you wanted to see what was going to happen.
Yes.
And you had to read it. And, I mean, reading's fun, but it was boring, I'm like, there's nothing I want to see this thing. So Boba Fett was the only glimpse of what the movie was going to be like. And again, we saw it in a cartoon a year or two before that, 2 years before.
And we also saw it in also as the largest scale, which I'll bring him out now. I may as well. This is my large scale Boba Fett.
Now, when did that come out? That had to be way after the movie.
79.
Oh, that was before the movie?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, that is interesting.
Unfortunately, mine's almost complete, but it's just missing the top of its rocket and his blaster. But it does have, these are pretty cool. Do you know what those are?
Wookiee braids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's and his little thing. But he's also got
cape.
if you look through here,
Oh, that's what you were talking about on our $6 Million Man show. He did have that. I didn't realize that. So it's like a viewfinder type thing, huh?
Yep. I actually, you know what I never knew? I only just recently discovered that on the small scale, you're the 3 3/4 Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's
that was his visor was actually supposed to be down like that. That's it molded down.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I only saw that when they did the Attack of the Clones.
So anyway,
he actually used that piece on his helmet.
So
did not know that.
Okay, so you can sit there.
You know what's funny? Do you have your Boba Fett? The mail away one?
I do. Hang on. Yep. Let me just hang on.
Because I'm noticing mine. Mine has that. What do they call it? The J trigger. That was designed to shoot that missile out of his back.
Let me grab my Star Wars, and I'll just see. Hang on.
Well, anyway, while you're looking for that, I'll put it up to the camera so people can see what I'm talking about. See that right there? That is the dreaded missile firing mechanism that they had to recall because that young boy we talked about on our Battlestar Galactica episode. I'm just referring back to previous episodes. Go back and watch them.
That's right.
A young boy choked to death on the Battlestar Galactica missile. So what they had to do at Kenner is they had to glue the projectile in there.
Yes.
But mine actually has it all set to go. I mean, there's the little switch and the lever and the spring was probably there.
Really interesting.
Because I sent away for this a second you could, because I had all those proof of purchases because I sent away for that stand that you showed a couple weeks ago on another episode.
Which I'm trying to still buy, yes.
What?
I'm still trying to,
I thought you had it.
No, I missed out on eBay. It went for, $500. So,
well, it's probably mine that I threw away years ago. So if I had known you wanted it, I think I had it for the longest time. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. But this was, I sent it away for. This was the other figure that you could send away for. So I had this. And then I told you before the show started, his gun's over here too. Bosk was also a mail away figure. So there was 2 mail away figures for The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I'll show you. So this is my Boba Fett there.
Okay.
It's a bit hard to
now
focus.
Did you buy that or was it the mail away?
No, I bought this, and if you have a look here, there is no, it's a bit hard to, I'm trying to
yours is not even there.
No.
That's interesting. Yeah, mine is, I could actually touch it and almost release the thing. I mean, that's how close mine is to actually a real fire.
Yeah, so it's like it's not even there, and that's like an authentic one that I bought, back at Tate's Toy Kingdom in 1979.
I know how we get listeners. So the guy that told me about the Indiana Jones thing, maybe he's watching. If somebody can figure out what's the deal with mine here, maybe it's worth millions of dollars. Maybe I can,
Well, I know that I've got one that maybe 10 years ago, on maybe less than that. Kenner brought out on the Star Wars backing card. They brought out one of these with a rocket firing Boba Fett, which I've got still got on card, and I just ordered.
The retro ones.
The retro one, because I found it on Zavi.com for $25.
I have not found those
which is pretty good because they're selling on eBay, and these are reproduction Boba Fett's. They're selling on eBay for $60, $70, $80.
I know. Our friend Les David from Canada, he said, "Oh, is there any chance you can go to a Walmart?"
Yes.
And try to find me these figures, but we've been in quarantine, so when you go to the stores, you really don't go looking for toys right now. So no, I have not found them. But
I'll keep an eye out for you. So
did they release the bigger ones? You know how they just redid the 6-inch cards? I have those. They did like the retro style.
That's right. I don't think they did Boba Fett on those cards. I think they've just done Luke, Han. Like
they have the Hoth Trooper. I saw that in the stores.
Yep, and they did the AT-AT driver, I think, as well.
Yeah.
They did the AT-AT driver. Anyway,
we digress. We were talking. Now it's turned into Mitch and Ed's toy thing. But okay, opening day for $2.95. My grandma picked me up this at the movie theater.
Yep.
When you would go to the movies, they started this, this project or whatever, this campaign. You would buy these books, these magazines, And what it would be is, you know, behind the scenes,
Yep.
you know, the making of the movie, interviews with the stars, some photographs, and it was pretty cool. I really like this. I mean, I had one from Star Wars that wasn't elaborate, and then I had Empire Strikes Back, I had Raiders of the Lost Ark, Return of the Jedi. All of them had these programs, and you would just sit there before the movie started, and you would just go through it, and it would show you some, you know, behind the scene information about the movie. But I remember it's in here too. There's a scene of 21B, the medical droid, examining a dead Tauntaun that says was attacked by Wampas.
Yes.
It's in the movie for like a second, but then there was this whole like, what are you talking about? What Wampa attack, you know? And then there was, because in the trailer for the movie before it came out, there's a scene with C-3PO running down a corridor over at the Hoth Rebel base, and he tears off a sign that's on a door that says like "Do not enter" or whatever, like that, and it's not in the movie. So for years we were all like, what's going on? And in the comic book adaptation, there's a scene where the Wampas, which if people don't know, it's the big snow creature that attacks Luke. The Wampa were in the rebel base. They were coming through the canyons or the caverns, and they were going after our heroes and stuff. So not only is the Empire coming in, but you got the Wampas going after him, and that's the thing that attacks Luke and leaves him hanging upside down in the beginning of the movie. So, did you ever see the making of and how bad the effect looked? The guy Des Webb played a Wampa.
I remember from it was now I bought this on video. I've told the story of my parents getting me The Empire Strikes Back on video. Before it was readily available. I also got it was SBFX.
Yeah, the making of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's right. And I do remember that the footage of Luke being dragged by the guy in the Tauntaun and constantly falling over.
It looked terrible, the costume. It was just, it didn't work at all. And then in fact they did the hand that knocks Luke off. Is this a guy? It's just a
hand on a stick.
On a stick, and and that's it. And you know, the snowstorm was so bad when they were filming over in Norway. They were all in the hotel. They took the cameras, they put them in the hotel, they opened the door. So all that scene with Luke walking through and Han looking for Luke is
in the car park,
200 feet outside the hotel lobby, because they couldn't go out because the blizzard was so bad.
Yes.
There you go. It's another little bit of behind it. You know what? I forgot to pull it out. If you really are interested, and I don't know if you got this, about the making of The Empire Strikes Back, I have a book over there by Alan Arnold. It's a paperback. It's got a red cover, and it shows the X-Wing fighter on Dagobah, and it says The Making of The Empire Strikes Back. Once Upon a Galaxy, it's called. It's great. It's got all these stories and everything there, and it's kind of sad now knowing what happens. There's a scene where Carrie Fisher can't come to the set, and it talks about how she's having a reaction to makeup or some medicine, and she just keeps not showing up and not showing. She's late a lot. Years later, we'll all know that Carrie had a bit of a drug problem.
Yep.
So you wonder if that was what's going on. When I'm reading the making of this, like Carrie Fisher's not here again. She's not here. She's not showing up. If that was something there, and they just didn't get into that back in the 1980s or whatever. But
it could be. They were really good. I've got that making of book. I've got the making of Raiders of the Lost Ark. There was the making of Superman the movie. I've got the Jaws log, which is another one. They were really good because they didn't. They were pretty warts and all, those making ofs. They
were on the set every day as a documentarian, and they would go follow the cast and crew, and literally day by day. And they would make a log.
Yep. And I know that I'm pretty sure that was it Derek Mears who did the Raiders of the Lost Ark one?
Derek Taylor was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, yes.
Derek Mears is the Swamp Thing guy. That was that terrific.
Oh, that's right. There you go. That's where I'm getting confused. But that's right. But I do remember that J.W. Rinsler found all these like interviews and everything like that weren't used in that book that he was also able to use for those fantastic making.
I have his book right here too. It's humongous. That's right. The reason why he had it is all the transcripts.
Yes.
I don't know where I put it, but it's the making of Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
He did one for each film.
Yep, it's got Luke on the black and white cover. Luke on the gantry in
Yeah.
They are wonderful books.
It is. It really is, and they're very thorough. I mean, if you really want to know about how they make a movie, they get into it. They have like the production diaries. They have the sets, the call sheets, the special effects. Everything.
Yeah, they talk to creatives, you know, on camera and off camera. It's amazing. What did you think about? Did you have any reaction to knowing that George Lucas wasn't directing Star Wars 2, as they were, you know, originally calling it?
You want to know what? It's going to be surprising, but I actually didn't like The Empire Strikes Back when I first saw it as a kid. I saw that movie, and no, because I love Star Wars. Yeah. Star Wars, when I still rank them all, if it matters, I always put Star Wars first, because I think if you don't have Star Wars, you can't have the rest of it. So no matter how good Empire might be for some people, you need somebody to take you to the galaxy far, far away to begin with and show you all this world. Then you can go off into these possible adventures and such. So it wasn't the movie I expected, because I was used to sequels being like cheesy, not as good as the first movie. And it was, I'll give you, Empire was a very heavy film, you know, very serious and totally different from Star Wars. And the fact that my favorite character was made into a coffee table and taken away, and you never saw what happened to him, I wasn't happy. And I remember when the credits rolled, I'm sitting there going, wait, there he is as a Lego. And I have more of those. It's like Han Solo as a coffee table. There's a giant version of it.
That's cool.
I was so mad about that there was no. I'm like, what do you mean the credits are rolling? What's going on? Where's Han Solo? He's my guy. I got to wait 3 years to find out if he's going to come back. Was not a happy camper. And then Lando steals his outfit and his vest that he's wearing it on the Millennium Falcon, and no one says anything about it at the end. So I remember that summer. I only saw The Empire Strikes Back 5 times. I saw it once with my grandmother, then I sat through it, watched it a second time, went with my friend Pete, because he loves Star Wars, went with my mom, and then I think I went with my cousin or something. That was it. I saw The Blues Brothers 13 times that summer. That was the movie I was going to, because The Blues Brothers came out the same summer as The Empire Strikes Back. I just kept going to see that movie because I had more of a fun time in that film. And it was rated R, so I didn't even know how I got into it all those times. But
you were wearing that Lando mustache, obviously.
I just remember being kind of sad and mad about The Empire Strikes Back. I liked Yoda. I liked all that stuff, but I wasn't excited that the movie, they got their ass kicked, basically. You know, Darth Vader won, and Luke got his hand chopped off, and you know, it lived up to the title. The Empire Struck Back and kicked their butt and left. And you're like, now what? So what did you think when you first saw it?
I just loved it. I do remember my mum going, why did Luke respond to Darth in, you know, when the Falcon's flying away at the very end? How could he reach out to, you know, using the Force? And I vividly remember my mum was going that and go, well, you know, that he just found out that, you know, that it's his dad. And I think that it did have a different vibe to me, but it still felt Star Warsy.
Oh yeah, it was,
as you know, to me. So I loved it. You know, there's so many amazing, spectacular sequences in there. The Hoth battle, the asteroid. The asteroid scene was the lightsaber battle at the end. Yoda, you know, all these things were absolutely just amazing for a kid, I think, to see it. But it was a lot, obviously, it was a lot darker.
You know what I think it was? I thought Star Wars was going to go in a different direction. I don't think it was what I had in my mind. I think George Lucas says, like, the biggest problem with fans is they come up with their own sequels in their head. And no matter what you put on the screen is never going to equal to what they've already filmed. And that's the problem I had with it, because, and I still miss this, when Luke leaves Star Wars with that yellow jacket on, and he's got his brown pants and he's got his laser pistol on the side, and Han says, oh, why don't you come with us? You're pretty good in a fight. I could use somebody like you. I literally thought the Empire was wiped out. This is, I mean, again, I'm 10 or 11 years old. I thought the Death Star, I thought that was all the Empire. That really freaked me out when I realized that was just one little part of it.
Yes.
I thought they were wiped out when the Death Star blew up. I thought they were all gone. I didn't realize there was more ships anywhere. For some reason, I thought that was the Empire. And that Luke was going to go off with Han on these adventures. They were going to get into the Millennium Falcon, and it was going to be like any other science fiction show that we saw, that they would just be like episodic. Next week, Han and Luke get in trouble over the gambling planet, like on Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be more of an adventure film. I didn't think it was going to be so serious with all this philosophy and Zen.
But that's sort of where the Marvel comics sort of filled that gap, didn't they? Because they did go off on those adventures.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I thought was going to be. And then there was another book that we saw called Splinter in the Mind's Eye.
Yes.
Which was a sequel, kind of. It's not considered canon now, but it was with Luke and Leia on a planet, and it had nothing. Han wasn't in it. He had gone off with Chewie.
Yeah.
So I thought this was going to be the sequel to Star Wars. I thought that's what The Empire Strikes Back was going to be, because they were looking for I don't think they call it the Kyber crystal, or maybe they do.
I think they were Kyber crystals. Were they on Dathomir? I'm trying to remember.
No, they were on some mining planet. I'm going to say it's like Minban or something.
Yes,
Minban,
that's it, Minban, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Vader shows up, and there's a fight between Vader and Luke, and Princess Leia picks up the lightsaber. There's none of this "she's your sister" stuff. And he fights with Vader. I'm going to say he chops off Vader's arm in that novelization, and Vader falls down a pit, and they get away. And 3PO and R2 are with him as well. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I thought it was, because also you got to remember, the only sequels we ever had to science fiction movies when we were little were the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah,
they kind of got worse and worse as they went along. So you just expected it to be inferior to the first one. So I didn't think Empire was going to be so big, but like you said, with the effects, with the asteroid, the snow battle, it was just so crazy how big and impressive it was, that it totally was a different story than I had expected. And then, like I said, you came to realize that the Empire was this massive thing. Did you realize that the Empire was all encompassing when you first saw it?
I thought they were pretty. I thought they were pretty big, because they were on Tatooine. Like they had a garrison on Tatooine, so I figured they were pretty big. One thing that you reminded me of, we were talking about Splinter of the Mind's Eye. I remember there was a Marvel comic that was like a novel size, and it was called Star Wars 2.
Yes,
Planet of Fire, if I recall correctly.
Those are British Marvel comic strips that they bundled up, because over in England they had their own weekly.
Star Wars 2. So I remember getting that, because that came out, I think, before the film had come out.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that. But one thing I watched yesterday, someone did they do modern trailers of classic films. So they did a modern trailer for The Empire Strikes Back, which looked really good. But I think what people forget is that at the end of Star Wars, you didn't know whether Darth Vader was still alive.
No,
or not. No. And everyone takes it for granted that it was Yoda, or it was Billy D, Lando, that was who's this new character. But it was a bit of a shock having Darth Vader come back, I think, because he didn't know how did he survive in, when his tie spun out of space and everything like that. So,
well, there was all those questions and stuff. And did you think he was as big a role as with the bad guy? Because that was another thing that blew my mind, was the Emperor. When the Emperor showed up, I'm like, who's this guy? And I honestly, maybe because it's the one we saw as kids, I like the old Emperor, which was basically a chimpanzee's eyes on top of an old woman's nose down. They just stayed a composite.
I had no idea that was
a monkey.
A monkey. No, until I read it. It must have been one of the books. It's crazy.
It was in the J.W. Rensler book. It was it was just so darn creepy.
Yeah.
The eyes blinking in the face. And it was Clive Revel, who's an actor, if folks don't know. He went on to another show called Wizards and Warriors, which was in the 80s too.
With Duncan Rieger and Jeff Conaway.
Yeah, man.
I love that show.
He was the bad guy. He was the evil sorcerer. And I remember, oh, that's the voice of the Emperor. And to me, Clive Revel's still kind of the Emperor. I have his autograph somewhere. I remember getting it. Because I'm like, that's the Emperor. I know he's been wiped out of canon and he doesn't exist anymore, and it's all Ian McDiarmid. But you got to give it up for Clive Revel, because that's the only Emperor we knew until Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
But did you like Yoda? When I saw Yoda, I was bothered because it sounded so much like Grover or Miss Piggy from the Muppets. I was like, that's Miss Piggy's voice. You know?
Being a big Muppets fan, I could hear the similarities, but I don't know. Maybe it's because of the way that they, used his speech patterns, that sort of backwards style talking. I forgot. No, I think it's like with the Muppets. When you watch, when you're watching an actor perform with a Muppet, they believe it. And I think Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, he sells
amazing,
it.
And obviously Frank Oz it was though as a duo, I thought that Yoda was pretty real. I think
Mark doesn't get enough credit for the act. In fact, they say one of the call sheets, he's the only human listed. It says actor Mark Hamill, set, snakes, lizards, Yoda puppet and stuff. I mean, he does a convincing portrayal. I mean, he's acting against a stick, a little rubber latex puppet. I mean, and he's got to emote and he's got to do scenes. And I loved it when Obi-Wan showed up. I remember being his kid, like, he's back. Oh my God. Obi-Wan's the ghost now. I remember freaking out when that was. And when Han cut open the Tauntaun, I remember being in the theater going, oh, that was so gross, with the lightsaber. Because that freaked me out too, because I didn't think anybody else could take a lightsaber. For some reason, I thought only the Jedi could use one. So when Han just picks it up like a Swiss Army knife and goes.
It's just like a torch.
And just uses it. But look at this high-tech toy.
All right, well, I'll show you.
I don't have this battle right now where they had the fake legs in it.
Yeah, well, okay, here's mine. So there's mine.
Now, did you always think that this was Luke? This is Luke, right?
No, that's not Luke.
That's a Hoth Rebel Trooper.
Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be Luke Skywalker. I was a dumb kid.
That's okay. So this is the one that didn't have the I got this for my it must have been actually I've got here. I did find.
And look how scary the Wampa looked.
I know.
Come on. This looked like terrifying. A costume. I think that thought the arms swatted away or something, didn't they?
I thought.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
That's it, right there. Look at that. Well, it just did it a second ago. Look at that. Look at that action. Woo. Oh. Hey, kids.
Hey, look what I just found.
What? Don't tell me you just found a toy you didn't know you had.
Yeah, I've got in my toy
box.
In my Tauntaun box. I've got a Tauntaun.
Can say that? Wait, you have this? The mini rig?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a.
And I got that one, but it's missing.
I bought this second hand at a flea market years ago. That's not my original stuff.
It's missing its dome, so.
Now that's the Rebels guy, right?
Yeah.
And the other one's the Empire.
So. I might have to sell those. So that's okay. All right.
I do admit that those walkers were amazing. I saw that in the theater, and I was on the giant screen. I mean, it was a big movie screen.
Yeah.
And that sound with the legs walking,
walkers, yes.
Holy geez, that was an effect. I'll tell you that. And plus, I grew up here where it snows a lot, so nothing ever fun happens in the snow. So that was the whole thing to play in your mind whenever it would snow, even to this day. When it snows outside, it's like you go outside to walk the dog and the wind's hitting you in the face and you got the thing wrapped around you. Like, any minute I'm going to fall in the snow and Obi-Wan's going to show up and tell me to go off to Dagobah.
Yeah.
So there was that.
I've never seen the snow. So anyway.
Wait, doesn't it ever snow in Australia?
Well, it does, but not where I live. So.
You've never seen snow?
No.
All right. I'll send you a box of snow.
I'll get this soggy, wet box at the end.
Yeah.
What? Actually,
really?
You were speaking about.
I've seen Vegemite.
Oh, good. I know, and you were speaking about Ben returning as the Force Spirit. That was Lee Brackett's idea. Lee Brackett, who sadly died 1978, I think, who was going to write the first pass of The Empire Strikes Back. I know George Lucas wasn't that wasn't happy necessarily with the story, but that's one of the elements that he kept. And then, of course,
I was going to say she delivered the script to him.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks later, she was in the hospital. She died of cancer. He didn't realize how sick she was. And then he called Larry Kasdan, who had just written a treatment for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even read Raiders of the Lost Ark. He just said, here, do the Empire. He goes, don't you want to read the other one first? He goes, well, if I read it and I hate it, then you're not getting this job, but I trust you. So Larry Kasdan gets the job after Lee Brackett passes away suddenly to write The Empire Strikes Back. And Irv Kershner directs it because Lucas didn't want to direct it. And I can't remember the list of people he went through, but Irving Kershner was a USC graduate, and that's the school that George Lucas went to with those other folks I mentioned as well. So they kind of all knew each other. And I'm trying to think of some of the films that Irv Kershner made. That he did a movie called Spies, I'm pretty sure, that had Elliot Gould and Donald Sutherland. It was a re-team after they made the movie MASH. It didn't do too well. But he did so. I was going to say it was The Eyes of Laura Mars.
Eyes of Laura Mars. I was thinking that. And I was trying to remember. Oh no, it wasn't. I'm thinking of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, that's Philip Kaufman.
Kaufman, it is. Yes,
he's the guy that gives him the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark. He does the right stuff.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So and of course we just finished season 1 of Amazing Stories. We just watched that. I found I had the DVD set of that, and Irving Kershner does a episode of that as well, which is quite now was it the one with Mark Hamill, who's a collector?
Where he's a collector of everything? I love that episode. He collects everything. He looks like this, all this junk.
Yes.
And he dies homeless and penniless. Thanks, Ed. And then they find him on the highway, and they suddenly realize he's got Superman.
Yeah, so, but what the thing is, so what happens is he does sell. He's at a gas station, and this little gnome who is magical, says keep your stuff.
Who played the gnome? Was it Billy Barty?
No, it wasn't. It was the other English one English actor who was in. Well, he was in Time Pilots. Time Bandits.
Not Kenny Baker.
No. Rappaport. It was.
Michael Rappaport.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is? It's amazing what we have stored in our brains.
Too bad we're not like the pillars of success.
I know. Michael Rappaport, and then and then a lady goes, "Is that a whatever Toby jug? I will buy that." And she bought that for $20,000. And then he starts selling all this stuff, and he's got a Action Comics #1 and all this sort of stuff. But he's wasted his life for all that time, and then he does find there's this Kindle of Romance at the end. He's selling all his collection, but like Kelly was saying, what's the moral? Usually they've got a moral. There was
this was just sell your junk and make money, I guess.
At the end, but you've wasted, all the best years of his life. Anyway,
I don't know. I do remember that episode of the.
Some other good. The Martin Scorsese, turns up.
Who was the one? Did Spielberg do the one with the airplane with the wheel that comes out and the guy draws it? That's
and John Williams did the music for that as well. So there's some really good episodes on there. Anyway, Amazing Stories. That's a whole different.
Nothing to do with what we're talking about. Has nothing to do with The Empire Strikes Back.
No, apart from Irvin Kershner and Mark Hamill, I suppose.
Well, I was going to say, even if I didn't like the story when I first saw it, I do agree that Darth Vader's theme, the one that everybody knows, dun, 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 that was in the soundtrack album.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, this poster, I have all the movie posters. They call this the Gone with the Wind style because you'll see that Han is kissing Leia. There's versions of it where you see Lando in the corner and you don't see Lando because Billy D. Williams wasn't featured on the original poster. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have the original poster. I thought it was a bootleg when I first got it because you could see the painting and then there's like a crackle mark along the bottom. And I'm like, oh my God, did somebody make a bootleg? This is back in the 80s when, it wasn't like nowadays. And what it was is the fellow that did the artwork, he made the poster too small and he didn't account for them to put the credits at the bottom of the film. At the bottom of the poster. So he had to go back and just add this like bluish effect to it. So that's why in the real version of that movie poster, there's a seam almost in the photograph.
Yes.
And that's that one. But there was that one. There was
the one that's we've got behind us is really like a teaser poster because
that is the teaser poster.
It's, coming to your galaxy this summer, which I thought was kind of cool. And I suppose that sort of had little doubt. That's okay. That that Darth was actually coming back.
I was gonna say I have a big glare on mine, but it's the same one you have back there. Yeah. That was the teaser poster. In fact, I should have got. There was a 10th anniversary that the Lucasfilm fan club put out for a Star Wars. It's metallic or mylar. It's a silver. It's a silver version of that poster. It says "Coming to Your Galaxy this summer." I believe it's that. And then they did one for the 20th of Boba Fett, where it's kind of like, but it's a golden thing. I can't believe it's 40 years. That's the thing. I was looking today for some old stuff I had. I go, wait, I have a Empire Strikes Back 10th anniversary poster by Joe Caroni, I think it is, or maybe a 20-year. And I'm like, wait, this is 40 years now? That's a long, long time to be doing this stuff here.
Oh my gosh, is it ever? Well, it's amazing that, we've got a load of collectibles here and things like that. We've got...
Here's one for you. I know we mentioned lunchboxes last time.
This
is a replica. This is a smaller replica, or maybe people that are on a diet and just don't want to eat much. But this is from Hallmark, and that's the Empire Strikes Back lunchbox. And then on this side, you had Yoda.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And they came out with these. They came out with this size. I also have a small ornament. Christmas ornament that came out with that. But there's tons of stuff. I mean, of course we know all the toys. I gotta say IG-88 was the coolest of the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters were my favorite. No matter what I thought of the movie, when it wasn't up to my expectation, those 5 guys, Zuckuss, Dengar, Forlom, IG-88, and Boba Fett, and Bosk, I'm sorry, there's 6 or so, 7. Those were the best. I thought that was a movie unto itself. I would go watch a movie just with the bounty hunter guys, Well,
we've sort of got that now with the Mandalorian, don't we? Which is kind of cool. So, I mean, look, obviously with Star Wars, and we've spoken a little bit about every show of ours, we do reference Star Wars at some point, usually because it's me buying something on eBay.
Yeah.
But the toys, obviously after Star Wars, the precedent was, toy. It was amazing what they brought out. I
didn't think they had a lot of toys for the Empire Strikes Back.
Well, okay, well,
no. Here's what I'm going to say to you.
Yeah,
I don't think they had a lot of alien creatures.
All right,
I remember being disappointed that because you had the Star Wars Cantina.
Well,
from the first one, but what did you have in the Empire? You had the Wampa, you had the Tauntaun, you had Yoda. Where's the other aliens? A couple bounty hunters. That's
you
about
had your
it.
Bounty hunters. You had your Ugnaught.
Okay, your little Ugnuts, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Star Wars where you had the walrus guy, you had the werewolf guy. You had so many of those Cantina characters, and the Sand People and the Jawas, and you name it, But
well, look, this is one of my favorite collectibles here.
The carrying case.
The carrying case.
Yeah.
There was there was 2 versions of it. I really quite like this. It's funny, Mitch, the price tag on this is from Child World.
Yeah, that's the store that was near me. Yeah.
So, and I mean,
I'm telling you, Ed, you have my stuff. I just want it back. I'll just send you the box.
There we.
Yeah, Child World. Before Toys R Us in the Northeast, it was Child World. That was the big one. Yeah.
So my 2 layers of those, which are really good.
I tell you what, all the new figures that came out for that movie, I thought the badass one, besides the bounty hunters, was the snow trooper. Even though he wore a skirt.
Yes, I've got this is my spare one without the skirt. So there he is. He's a bit hard to see.
No. I always thought that was a cool outfit. A cool.
But
design.
I've got these 2 as well.
What's that?
Let's see.
Are those original?
They're original, but if you see here, they've been opened at the top.
By the way, here's Luke. I was corrected. Luke had the scarf that was coming off his face. Yeah. What happened at the top of them?
Oh, so see how they've been opened at the
I see. Somebody glued it, or cut.
But did you get the mail away for this?
I did. They have that. I have all that. I saved it. Look, there's the skirt.
Yep.
Yeah, no. In fact, we could use those gas masks right now. What's going on? No, but I sent away for that, and I remember you got the 3 gas masks, a couple rifles, the backpack that Yoda could go in,
a grappling hook,
so a grappling hook
to
that you put on the walker.
The walker. I've got.
Is that hard to come by?
Well, they're hard to find. I'm selling at our retro shop. I'm selling one of the gas masks at the moment. But you can find those things a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got my other mini rig, which is my Cap 2 from Empire.
What about the I can't think of it right now. The probe bot. Do you have a probe droid?
There was I've got it in the micro collection. So I've got my micro collection here.
There you go. See, I don't have any of this stuff in box. I have one over there with the ice cave, which is the Wampa, Luke upside down, and Han.
I've got that, but I'm missing the Probot. That comes with a Probot, actually. So
I don't think I have a Probot with mine.
Yeah, it you could flick it. So when Chewbacca is there and Han shoots it, you flick it and it explodes.
No, see, it's just the figures. It doesn't have that.
Yeah,
see, that collection came out. Speaking of Child World, I remember walking down the aisle at Child World, and an end cap is the end of the aisle.
Yeah.
And that's where they have all the stuff. They had an entire peg wall of the new Micro Machine die-cast spaceships.
Yeah.
And underneath that, they had the boxes of the Micro Machine play sets. They had Cloud City, they had Hoth, they had the one you just showed. And you were supposed to get these little die-cast figures. Yep. I have those upstairs. But I think everybody was really mad about the fact that we had disinvested all this money into these 3 3/4 figures, and now they're telling us, "Oh no, go buy these little lead soldier-looking guys."
Yep,
right
there
here.
They are. There.
Yeah, and nobody bought them. I remember trying to get the Millennium Falcon because I thought it was kind of cool, and it was very heavy.
I've got the Falcon. Yeah,
die-cast metal was really heavy, but the one that was a big deal in that was the TIE Bomber. That was a hard one to come by. It was looks like a TIE fighter, but it's got 2 pieces in the middle and it's bombing as they're in the asteroid belt.
Yep.
That's a hard one.
That was the die cast one. That's really hard to find. With this came out, I think this came out maybe 1982. The micro collection.
Oh, see, no, I could have swore they were out when the movie just around 80, 81. 82 a little late.
Let's have a look here. I'll just do a quick.
Maybe it was out for a couple of years. I know it never took off though. It was not a big deal.
This is copyright 1982.
Oh, okay. And that's the
micro collection. So I know I've got the Falcon, I've got the Death Star, one of the Death Star play sets as well. They're kind of hard to, even though they didn't sell well, trying to get them, they're quite expensive on eBay.
Maybe because there wasn't a lot.
It could
out
be.
There.
But they were really cool. I really liked them. I think they were, and they did bring, Galoob brought them back a little, years later in the 90s. Yeah. And I've got all those play sets.
They were all plastic then.
They were.
Yeah, I have some of those. They're not the same. It's nice. I remember getting all of them because it was cool. You get 3 ships in a little package.
Yep.
And then
they also brought out heads of the, like I've got, there's a head of C-3PO. You open it up and it's a Star Wars cantina inside. And
not these
like
things.
A little bit like that, but you would open up. That's kind of nice. Where's that from?
This is, I'm going to say Master Replicas. Yeah, Master Replicas, 2007. They did. I have a bunch of these. I have the Stormtrooper. I have Boba Fett. I have Vader. They're just mini helmets. And what's actually good about it is they detail the inside of it. I don't know.
Yes.
That's a lot of work for no one's ever going to see it, but they have like the padding, they have the circuit board inside of it as if it was there. And I don't know what they went for. I think they were like $25-$30, maybe more, but they're not numbered or anything. But
I've just got my, this is my FX Collectibles Stormtrooper
what are you
from
talking
Empire.
About they had helmets. They made die-cast helmets like this?
I don't know if the Masters, this is an FX collectible one.
No. I'm saying back in the day when you were talking about die-cast. And you're saying in the 80s they had something like this?
No, in the 90s they made plastic ones that they would open up. I've got a stack of them, yeah. So they were the Galoob ones, and they had a big.
I have that. I have one of Boba Fett's head. It opens up to Cloud City.
Yes. Yes, I've got that. There's a Luke one. There's the Millennium Falcon that opens up into a whole thing. Death Star. They've got.
Now, what about we talked about the action figures. I said there wasn't a lot of alien figures, but what did they come out? I know the Walker. That's not the original Walker. That's the one that came out years later. That's the FX, the Hasbro one there.
Yes.
But there was well, I'm trying to think what ships they came out with. They
the Scout Walker. Oh no, sorry, that was Return of the Jedi. Sorry, no, they had the Snow Speeder. They had other mini rigs.
Slave One. They came out with Boba Fett ship. I have that.
They had the twin pod cloud car, which
did they make one of those? I wondered about that. I
just sold the boxed version of it at from 1980, 81.
See, I was thinking they made these mini rigs because there wasn't a lot of vehicles in the movies. That's why they came out with these off screen. They weren't in the movies, but they could have been. They were kind of like off screen.
Well, they had they also had the the Rebel transport that they brought out.
Oh yeah.
Which doubled as a ship,
and
it doubled as a carry case for your collectibles as well.
Is that when they also came out with the carrying case that looked like a blaster?
That was that return? That was
because I'll tell you a story about that. My friend owned a toy shop back in the late 90s.
Yes.
And somebody walked in selling Star Wars toys, and they sold this thing, and he bought it thinking it was just a blaster. And then after the fella left, he opened the latches, and there was all the figures inside. They didn't know it was a carrying case, and it was full of figures. And I thought that was an Empire Strikes Back type of thing. So
it might have been because they did.
Remember I talked about this before?
That's great.
This is when I'd show you the Vader one all the time. I said they came out with 3PO. This is not Empire Strikes Back, so I'm off. This is episode 3. This was the cereal company, and what it is you could give them a lobotomy, and you put cereal in there or whatever you want to hide.
That's a nice looking. That looks nice.
Yeah, it was a mail away from cereal boxes for episode 3. So there's Vader.
That's the one thing that I love the Black Series, the 6-inch Black Series figures. Yeah. And I've got all the original, the 12-back version of that on their display.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do a VAC metallized C-3PO like the originals.
Yeah. That's shiny. That's what makes it.
Shiny. Absolutely. That's great.
Did not work into it. But we talked about some of the other stuff they had that back in the 80s. Drinking glasses were a big deal, and these were available at Burger King here in the United States. Now, I think you and I talked about this before. In the States, there's a little bit of some verbiage on the back, like a little description. The ones you have don't have this. Or was
the Star Wars, we never got Empire Strikes Back glasses, but the Star Wars ones didn't have any text behind. They're really nice. I've only got Lando, which I got at a glass fair.
That one. Here's Luke.
Oh, I like him using I like how they've got him using the Force there. That's really
and there's Yoda. And
they're nice.
Yeah. And then there's a little bit in the back about Luke in there. And then the last one, if I don't be careful, this is nice. That's Vader.
Yes.
And then you can see
the snow troopers, and that's cool.
And there's Boba, and then on the back it talks about Darth Vader. But it's interesting because Boba Fett's blue. I guess they were trying to get for a greenish look. Now, I didn't realize his color changed until years later because I wasn't really paying attention to that. But apparently this is the outfit from, I'm going to say, Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, I think the colors change from those two films, but I don't really notice.
I don't get into that too, but people would tell me that know this stuff a lot better than I do. Like, oh no, Boba Fett's uniform changes from movie to movie, like the colors on it. See,
all right, well, can I just show you these? So we're speaking glasses. So in Australia, McDonald's had the tie-in for Empire Strikes Back. So what you do, you'd buy a Coke or whatever, and you'd get a collector's cup. And these are the collector's cups.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's red.
Yep.
What's up with that?
Well, they only had a few colors to print in.
Oh, okay. But no.
So there's that one, which is kind of cool.
See, I never saw those before.
So.
Oh, the walkers, yeah.
Yeah. So that's got a few here.
Yeah, yeah.
And the last one is the heroes, which was interesting because
Luke, yeah.
So that's obviously from the Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. It looks like Han's got a lightsaber almost.
Yeah, it does. And there's Yoda they've just put in.
Yeah. Where's Leia? There she
is.
Yeah, Leia's in her princess outfit.
Yeah, and I think they've just got some. So yes, so I think they're pretty hard to find, those ones. But I've obviously held on to them for 40 years, which is crazy.
Now, we talked about Burger King. I told you before the show started, I couldn't find it. When you went to Burger King, when you weren't getting the glasses, they would give you a folder, and it was a sticker album, and they would give you these little stickers, and you'd get 4 tiles, and you'd put them together, and you'd put, I think there were 16 altogether, for it was like 16 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know how they did, maybe 2 a week. So you would come in and you get a little envelope that said Empire Strikes Back stickers inside, and you'd open it up and they'd mix and match, and you'd get a couple pieces each week. And then as soon, about after 2 months, you'd have assembled this entire sticker album that had all the different images from the show or the movie. It would have the fight in Cloud City. It would have Yoda. It'd have the snowspeeder, Han and Lando. And then I just remembered another thing I have that I should have pulled out. See, when we do the show, the prep is crazy because I try to find stuff, and then as we're doing it, I'll think of things. Topps trading cards. I have the trading cards. Mm-hmm. I think you have them there too, but they're not called Topps. They're called Gerban or Gerbo.
No, they're called Scanlans. So
well, that's close.
So I'll see if I can.
It's the same thing here, except it's a different logo. Now, I mailed away for the cardboard holders for that, but I just realized they had 5x7 photo cards that came out. There were 40 of them, and there was the entire Empire Strikes Back, and I had them all, but they were 5x7 color photos on hard cardstock of like publicity photos. So you had Harrison Ford with like a red background. You had Mark Hamill. They were from the film, but they were also just like shots of the actors, like they would go to do their like
shots,
promo shots, and I have those somewhere too, but they would come in this yellow sleeve that would say Empire Strikes Back on it, and you'd rip it open and you'd get 1 card per sleeve, and they never did it again after that. It was really, not the smartest.
I haven't seen them. I do remember I had the Art of the Empire Strikes Empire Strikes Back portfolio with all of Ralph McQuarrie's.
This was the re-release for the special edition.
Yes, and it had like
the script,
the lithographs or whatever of his artwork, which was fantastic.
Yeah, there's that. This came out. I showed you, I think, on a previous show. This came out when the movie came out. This was in the 80s, and this also has the script from the film, but it's Joe Johnston's sketches.
Yes.
And then we talked about movie adaptations. I showed you the Marvel one. They redid it years later, and they got new artwork from it. This is not the original Al Williamson artwork. This is a different artist, and it's almost like they took photos from the movie.
Well, why?
I don't know why they redid it. They did this with Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. The artwork's totally different. I could see why the Star Wars one, because a lot of people aren't fans of Howard Chaykin's artwork, but I don't know. It didn't sell well. I mean, there's a different one. And then this crazy book. Look at this. This is nuts.
Wow.
This is...
You've shrunk, Mitch.
Huh?
You've shrunk.
When the artists draw, it's about that big. That's how big the artboard looks.
Wow.
So what this is Al Williamson, who did the artwork for The Empire Strikes Back, those books I showed you.
Yep.
This is his original artwork. This is taken from his drawing boards before they put the color in and stuff. And what's cool about this is you could see little notes on the side. You could see little like, eraser marks. You could see what he's doing. And,
is that recent? I mean, how?
This was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And what's interesting about this is they show there's the two Yodas in here. I don't know what happened. Like, there's the chubby Yoda from the movie.
Yes.
And then in the upper corners is the real skinny one. That they're both versions in one book.
Yeah.
But that was Al Williamson. He did the newspaper strip as well. They had a newspaper strip that took place between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. And it told the bounty hunters on Ord Mantell, which was mentioned in the movie. So they do that story. So he was a brilliant artist. He also did a Flash Gordon movie adaptation. So if you have the Flash Gordon comic book, you have the same artist, Al Williamson. So that's another one of my.
Oh, I'll have to order that on eBay somewhere before our Flash Gordon 40th anniversary.
I know Scott Martin, who comes to my shows, he gave me a little plastic bag that had all 3 copies, a 3-issue series, so I could get Sam Jones to autograph it.
Oh, fantastic!
But were you a huge Boba Fett fan when it came out, or did you grow to like him years later? Because honestly, I don't know what the fascination was everybody had with Boba Fett, because I thought he really didn't do much. He just kind of was there, and it was, oh, he's such a badass. He's this and that. I go,
yeah. I liked him. I obviously bought the figures, and he was.
I think we made more up in our head than was in the movie, because I think, oh yeah, look at how cool this guy. He's got a rocket pack, and he's got flamethrowers on his gauntlets and stuff. Did he ever use any of those? The Mandalorian uses them, but I don't think Boba Fett used any of them.
He's a simple man of simple means. Just
trying to make
his ways in the galaxy. He's trying.
Yeah.
He didn't need to use all those bells and whistles back then.
He looks a lot better than he did when he was an M&M. They've made more Boba Fetts than I can imagine here, but and I have them all too.
One thing I just remember, I was shocked.
What?
And at the end of Empire Strikes Back, where he goes, when Lando goes, I'll see you at when they're all talking about, I'll see you on the rendezvous point at Tatooine, and I'm going, Tatooine, isn't it Tatooine? And I realized that I had been,
You've been saying it wrong. Yeah.
As a kid, I'd been calling it Tatooine. All this, because maybe I'm a little bit dyslexic. I don't know, but I switched the letters around. So
here's what bugged me about Empire Strikes Back. How many years is it between Empire and Star Wars? 3 years, right?
3 years, yeah.
Okay, 3 years. When he says, Luke, it's the same scene you're talking about. I'll meet you at the rendezvous point on Tatooine. Princess, we will find a hand, I promise. May the Force be with you. If they know where Jabba the Hutt lives, which is Tatooine, they know Boba Fett's going to Tatooine to drop off Han. What's going to take you so long? And then, of course, I know we have the book, The Shadows of the Empire, that talks about how Boba Fett really didn't go in a direct route because he knew they were going to come after him. So he kind of went around, took the long way around the universe to get to Tatooine. And the Empire was waiting for Luke there. They obviously they knew he was going to come and get Han. But it just was like, really? I mean, I don't know. And Jedi takes place about, a year after?
I think so. Well, Lando had to sort of, secrete himself into Jabba's palace guard and all those sort of things. So, you can't do those things.
And the other thing I told you really bugged me is I didn't realize it. I thought Han had the coolest blaster there ever was, And so when it was available to order, I ordered it. It's a Han Solo's blaster from The Empire Strikes Back. What I found out is it's not the same gun as he has in Star Wars, because what it is, it's different here. Like the scope
is on the side. Yes.
Yeah, it's a longer one. I don't even think this looks like the real thing. This is, like I told you, this is Luke's gun. This looks more filed down.
It does look like Luke's.
Like a little sleeker version of it. But Han does have this gun when he shows up in the Hoth and he shoots the Proquat and he kills it. He blows up. He's got this gun. So I don't know why they changed it. I mean, were they just trying to sell more toys?
Well, why do they change superhero costumes from, film to film? Because they can sell more.
Because they can sell more toys. I don't know.
That's not. Those things are really hard to find. Those Masters replicas ones now.
Yeah, this is like $6. They also made Boba Fett's laser rifle, which was really big, and that was like $300 or $400 at the time. So I don't know what that's going. They went under. They didn't make. I think 4 or 5 years. Master Replica.
But it's again like the FX. They've gone under as well. Unfortunately, is yours the Stormtrooper helmet behind you? Is that an FX one as well?
It's a Hasbro one.
Okay.
That's just the Hasbro one that has there's a voice modulator in it too.
Oh yes, I've got the Hasbro Darth Vader, which is really quite
I have
good.
that. Yeah.
And I'm thinking I might have to succumb and get the Hasbro Boba Fett helmet because that looks.
I saw that somebody posted that today. Now, when the movie was over and you knew you had to wait 3 years, and I remember this, and this is something I found today when we were doing our stuff. I was like, "Oh boy, I can't wait!" And then I remember this in Variety. The sequel coming to the biggest movie of all time. You ready?
Wow.
Revenge of the Jedi.
That's pretty cool.
What the hell? And it says coming May 27th.
1983.
Yeah. Well, obviously we know there's no such thing as Revenge of the Jedi. Because Jedis don't take revenge because they just told us that in the movie.
That's right.
So Lucas had to go change that. Now I heard 2 stories.
Mm-hmm.
One, The Wrath of Khan was out. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And he didn't want it to sound similar. Or the other version is somebody reminded him that the Jedi don't give in to hatred. And revenge is kind of a hate-filled action.
Yes.
So it would be contradictory for them to do that. So they changed it at the last minute to return. So much so that the Revenge of the Jedi posters were printed already.
Yes.
And they were at movie theaters. And of course, being Star Wars fan club members, Lucas took them all and gave them to the Star Wars fan club, and they sold them all to us for $7.50. You can get a Revenge of the Jedi poster, and I still have mine, but I think they go for $400 or $500 now because that was it.
Yeah,
there was no other
until Revenge of the Sith, which makes much more sense.
Were you surprised when it said Episode 5 when the title started?
I honestly don't remember. I
don't
think
remember
probably
that?
By that stage I would have seen Star Wars a number of times, and it would have had changed to Episode 4, A New Hope.
It did when it was reissued in 81.
Yeah, and I would have seen it then. And
one of the reissues they put the words Episode 4, A New Hope. They retitled it A New Hope.
Yeah, and they reissued Empire Strikes Back as well.
Yeah, they
before
did, yeah.
Before Return of the Jedi came out as well, and it made $20 million. And
did you like the new versions, the special edition?
I went to see all of them, and I thought the enhancements were really good. I thought I liked what I really liked. I was blown away actually by how they expanded Cloud City.
Yeah,
I was going, well, hang on, that's supposed to be just a white corridor, and
and then you can see like ships going by and elevators.
And I thought that was really, really good.
The only nitpick I have, is that insert they did with Vader. Bring me my shuttle, because it just interrupts the whole flow of the movie, or maybe because we've seen it so many times. We're used to Luke hanging on the weather vane, and calling Leia. And she's, hears him in the Force, and she's coming to get him. And suddenly now we have this new scene where it's like, prepare my shuttle for whatever. And you're like, what is this?
That was him doing his Lando Calrissian.
And I don't care what they tell you. It's not a new scene. It's the reshot of Return of the Jedi when he lands in the beginning of the Death Star, because there's Major Jerjerrod waiting for him when he comes down the ramp. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, that's not the freaking Devastator. That's the Death Stars. You're just reusing footage. We're not stupid. But whatever. Yeah. But that just bugged me. I'm like, you didn't need to add that. We knew that he was going on a shuttle to another ship or whatever. But
I think like the Wampa is better. We spoke about the Wampa.
The Wampa is a better scene. Yeah.
And I think them doing some things like the transparencies of the snow speeders and things like that work really well. I'm trying to think what else
they added the scream. I hated that. When
Luke fell, yes.
When Darth Vader says, join me and we can rule the galaxy. Because it doesn't sound so tough anymore. Because before he's looking right at the devil and like, right here. And he kills himself. He's like, I'm not going to join you. I'd sooner die That's like, whoa, that guy's got balls. I'll tell you that. Now it's like, and he's screaming like, maybe
I'm not going to die. Oh, it's so high up.
Yeah, I should have done that.
I regret everything. So
no, I regret nothing. They took that out. Now when you see it, that's gone. Thank goodness.
Okay, because I've bought the 4K versions on disc.
It's in there?
So I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it.
It's not there anymore because if you watch it on Disney, which I believe is the same one that's on there, it's gone.
Okay.
It's not McClunky. That's another thing. I bet you have. McClunky. What? What the hell is he talking about?
It's an alien language.
It wasn't there. He shot the guy.
Maybe he was really quiet. You never know. He whispered. I don't know. Anyway.
Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it, Ed. Say it. McClunky. Whatever.
So the Empire Strikes Back. I think that's all I've got to show.
Yeah, we've done everything. We've done toys. We've done the stuff. We've done
the good old trading. I used to love collecting those things. They were fantastic. My favorite, and I always loved that iconic picture of Luke.
Yeah.
And there's is that your blaster there?
Yeah, that's it. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
The Misty World.
So Han stole Luke's blaster.
Lando stole his vest.
Han's clothes, his vest. Yeah. I was gonna say, The Empire Strikes Back. What was the best scene in the movie when I was a kid was when Yoda lifts Luke's X-wing fighter out. Okay, and the music plays. The music's great. It's like, and it comes up right. So the other night I'm watching
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. That scene when Rey's like, well, I don't have a ship, and you have everything you hear, and all of a sudden you see Luke's X-wing coming out of the water, and they cut to Luke, and he's there, and he's got the little hand coming up, and they're playing Yoda's music, and he's got a little smile on his face. To me, I got chills talking about it. That's the best scene in the entire Rise of Skywalker movie, even though Luke should have had a bigger part. That 30 seconds that he's on screen and they're playing Yoda's theme and the ship comes out of the water. Because to me, that's like, oh, look, remember Luke couldn't do it? He couldn't get the X-wing out of the fighter, so it took him 30 years, and he had to die, but he finally mastered the, here we go. And in fact, it bugged me when Yoda came back in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it did.
He just showed up. I was like, wait, they just kind of come and go? Like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. I thought I'd drop by and start a fire over here, So, but we will do a Last Jedi thing on the very last episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. I will come here with an axe and go off on that movie like nobody's business.
Like out of The Shining. It'll be horrendous.
I watched it the other day, and I was like giving it a second thought. It's not my Star Wars, Ed. Though people compare it to The Empire Strikes Back. I've heard that.
Yeah.
So, I don't see it myself.
No, well, anyway, that's a thing for another episode.
So if you had to rank The Empire Strikes Back in your top 20 Star Wars or whatever it is, top 11, where does it sit?
It would be 2.
It would be 2.
My top 3 are Star Wars number 1, Empire number 2, Jedi number 3. So
that's how it works with me. Yeah,
I don't. But if other people like, I love all Star Wars. It's like I love all Indiana Jones. Some are better than others, but there's like you said in The Last Jedi. There's one scene. There's usually one thing that's still.
There's one thing that helps it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So.
The Last Jedi. Let's see. What's that one scene? Oh, ready?
Yep.
Where's Han? Makes me want to cry every time, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we all want to know, Luke. Yeah. Where's Han? When Chewie, what are you doing here? Falcon, where's Han? I'm like, don't tell him. Don't. You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is.
The scene with the casino and the horse.
No, Canto Bright. I can't get enough of that scene. I put it on constant repeat. When Luke goes aboard the Falcon, and he's sitting there all quiet.
Yeah.
And Mark Hamill does a line read when he goes, R2, R2, and his eyes light up like that. Yep. And for a brief second, it's Luke in Dagobah when R2 falls in the water and he comes out and he's like, R2, R2. Yep. That's Luke Skywalker right there. It's like, oh, my old friend, how you doing? That is a great scene. But there's not enough of that in there, It should have been more. But whatever. Or the other scene when he walks by 3PO and he goes,
"Is this our last episode?" Hang on.
No. When he goes, "Master Luke," and Luke gives him a wink.
Yeah,
that's great because it's like, look, there's like a little. Those movies just need a sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
They just need a little. And I don't talk about where the crystal critters go. That's not funny. That's stupid to me, you know. Or don't shoot, or big guy, whatever the hell his name is, whatever. Ed, have we reached 1,000 people yet?
Not yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close.
Okay.
So,
now we've talked about this. I think we mentioned.
Remember, 100 subscribers, and I'll have my Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which yesterday here in Australia, today is the 12th anniversary of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I'll have to dig that out. I literally have to dig it out because it's turned into a clump of stuff. So
this is actually still fresh.
Yeah, I know. So we'll do that. Thank you again to, we should say, to everyone who's been watching each of the episodes, and people have commented, and of course you for subscribing. Don't forget to subscribe, or to let people know if you enjoy the show. You know, you can share it as well, which is really good. But yeah, lots of fond memories of Empire Strikes Back. It's one of those rare things, like, dare I say, Superman 2, which the sequels that, some people do think are better than the original.
You had a great summer night. You had a great 1980 because The Empire Strikes Back came out, and apparently Superman 2 came out.
Superman 2 did come out, and Flash Gordon, which I just pre-ordered the 4K 5-disc box set.
It's chock-a-block.
It is chock-a-block. It is chock-a-block, in fact. And that comes out in June. So I'll be...
Wait,
so we'll
June?
be doing...
I thought it was August.
Oh, I think everything comes out earlier in Australia. What are you talking about? Come on.
I was going to say, I thought it was August something, because I'm like, well, I'll have to wait till then. Is it June?
I'm pretty sure it's June. So I ordered, that and my the retro Boba Fett action figure. So
yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I have not seen I've seen the 6-inch ones.
Yeah, so that'll
we could end the show like we do in Flash Gordon, like, yeah.
We'll jump up. If I can.
If I knock my glasses over, I'll
cry. We'll see. That's right. No, we just need to stand solemnly as the and sort of move away like this as the camera moves away from the medical frigate. That's what we need to do. So in silence. So that was our look back at a meandering look back at The Empire Strikes Back. Thanks.
Oh, they loved it and they know it. They're just like us.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ed Dollister.
I'm Mitch Halleck.
And this has been Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. See you next time.